Hello all. Welcome to Fridays with Ignite, a new concept from Ignite Sweden. To gather people to talk about startup corporate collaboration and to talk about the importance of working with startups and also from both corporate side and for startup side and giving inspiration from some special guests that we invite as a kickoff or ending of Friday and to kick on the weekend. My name is Suzano Shaba. I work as a director for international collaboration at Ignite Sweden. And I'm here together with you and with our special guest, Gisele from Suzano. Warm welcome to you. We're gonna go through really interesting corporate and the corporate perspective of how to work with startup. Really warm welcome, Gisele, to this webinar or session together with us. I know you have a lot of insights. We have been talking quite much around this, and you have been in our matchmaking that we have been doing. You have been this matchmaking actually for many years, we are excited to understand and know how Suzano work with innovation and mainly with startups, and how your strategies are, and what kind of insights you have with you to this session. And before I start, or before we start with that, I would like just to present a little bit of who is Ignite for you who's new to Ignite. So Ignite is a non-profit organization under the umbrella of Swedish Incubators and Science Parks. Swedish Incubators and Science Parks is the Innovation Ecosystem Association in Sweden. That means that we are well connected to the Swedish innovation ecosystem, the incubators and the science parks in Sweden. And our mission at Ignite is to accelerate the startup corporate collaboration with focus on creating commercial pilots. We saw this gap with the innovation ecosystem to connect startups even more to corporates, and actually also to the public side, to municipalities and governmental corporates. And we work, of course, with that also. And we are non-profit. We are growing very, very fast. We're about 25 people with different niche or expertise. And we are founded by 5 incubators. You can see them below here. That's Lead, Mink, Sting, Things, and Spinova, and 2 science parks. That's Sahlgrenska Science Parks and Kista Science City. It started there, but we're also onboarding a lot of other incubators and science parks to our processes. And we see innovation as a crucial part for the corporate and the public side to find new technologies and take the different solutions, both product and services, ahead. Of course, without our incubators and science parks, we would never scout the top startups in Sweden. So we are in a close collaboration, of course, with the local incubators and science parks. We have done this since 2017, and we continue in a fast way. We have been working in 10 countries, and for us, it's not about only having a matchmaking randomly. We have a specific process for that, and we have tailored meetings that we do together with the corporates and the startups. And we always begin with understanding the corporate challenges, both in near time and a long-term perspective. And from that, we try to scout the best startups that can match and solve that challenge. We have been working with over 700 startups, but we have a database with 1,800 startups. And for us, it's very important that we focus on supporting the startups in this interesting journey. And we started nationally with doing national matchmakings, and now we're increasing internationally also. The background of this session is also that we have been working with Suzano, as we said, for 3 times in the matchmaking. As you see here, we have been working with quite many corporates and public organizations. And what we are measured on is our follow-up rate. So when a corporate decides after a matchmaking to do a next step with a startup, that means a second meeting, third meeting, fourth meeting, that is required to do a commercial pilot in the end. And we're also of course, we measure how many commercial collaborations that actually happens between the corporates and the startups in our matchmaking. We always work locally. That means that we have partners in these countries. So in Brazil, we have been working very close to CISP. Thanks for them. We have amazing corporates with us and last matchmaking and the other matchmakings. And for us, it will be definitely other matchmakings that that will be planned and are planned. And with that said, of course, just to give you a short, like, if you have questions, this is a fireside chat. It's a closed session. So I will moderate it, but all of you that are here in this webinar are very welcome to ask your questions after Gisele's PowerPoint presentation. For us, it's very important that you are included and that the questions are answered. So my colleagues will take care of the chat and give me a heads up when there's questions. And so feel free to have this open conversation, close conversation between all of us. Let's have a interesting discussion and presentation. With that said, I welcome you, Gisele, to the stage, to the digital stage from Suzano. Pleasure to have you here. The stage is yours.
Thank you guys. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Well, as Susan mentioned, we are working together at least for 3 years, so I'm very happy to be part of your connections. So I will share my screen. Please let me know if you are seeing. That's okay.
Looks perfect.
Okay, so I'm Gisele, new business executive manager at Suzano. So working on finding new opportunities that are not exactly pulp and paper. It's a huge challenge, but it's a challenge that we have been sharing with our colleagues and competitors, because the forestry segment is looking for new opportunities, and I think this is the perfect moment, since the society and marketing are always are now actually trying to find new alternatives to fossil components and chemicals. And well, we are here ready to do it, since we are transforming trees in other things since long time ago. I'll speak a little bit about myself. So nice to meet you, everybody. Well, I'm chemist by training. I have a master in polymer science and technology, more than 10 years of experience in renewable. I started my career as a researcher, quite common in this field, right? So I've worked with biopolymers, biochemicals, biorefinery, not just in Suzano, but in other company, that relevant company here in Brazil. And since 2015, I'm working at Suzano. I started as an intellectual property specialist, so I was trying to define the strategy of patenting and protecting the developments that we are doing. And they started a work that was very, very interesting. It was quite a dream at that time to create a kind of technology intelligence. And I started this monitoring patents and trying to connect it with everything that was being published at that time. And at this way, I started working with new technologies assessment. At that time, focused on R&D, trying to find new opportunities and new collaborations, including with startups for emergent technologies, for new processes and new products for Suzano. Then in 2019, we passed through a huge merger where we became the largest company in the world for pulp production. And at that moment, I received the invitation of being part of new business team. So the idea was to do exactly the same job, but not focused on just technology, but also focused on market and possibilities of creating new business. And at that time, I started working with CISB a lot here because we knew that we already had actually some relationships, some partnerships with Swedish ecosystem. But the idea was to understand a little bit better outside our conventional connections with this ecosystem. So I started working with CISB and then with Ignite Sweden and other partners in Sweden in order to try to understand what other opportunities we could find that were not exactly related to our very traditional connections there. So and now, actually, at the beginning of this year, I started running a new business. So I'm still working. I'm still responsible for new technologies assessment, but we have a new team working with this. But I'm still with them. But also, I'm leading a new business. So, well, it's the lignin business, and I would say that considering the size of Suzano, I would say that I'm running a startup, internal startup, you know, because it's a very small business, and we are trying to discover new opportunities and to understand the potential of this platform for Suzano in terms of diversification and of markets. So. Well, I think I'm running a startup. And besides that, I'd like to teach you a new word. So I'm chemist, I'm work at Suzano, but I'm also capixaba. It's an indigenous word that means that I'm from Vitória, this beautiful, lovely, sunny place at Brazil. So if you have the opportunity to come here, please take some time to visit Vitória. It's an amazing place with amazing food. And well, let's talk a little bit about Suzano and how are we working, how we are working with startups. First of all, Suzano is a huge company. We are the largest, as I mentioned, the largest producer of market pulp in the world. So more than 90% of pulp that we produce goes to the entire globe. We produce almost 11 million tons of pulp per year. And now we just launched a new project. So very soon, in a couple of years, we'll have at least more 2.5 million tons of pulp in the market with this new project. So we are quite happy with this. And besides that, we are a company that has a significant relevance in South America for paper and packaging. and we are starting the business, and we are quite accelerate on that on consumer goods, so producing tissue-based products. It's a verticalization. I think you are seeing here, right? Verticalization process that is happening in Brazil. And then we have new businesses with EcoLig, that is the trademark of lignin, the business that I'm running right now. Euca Fluff, so Suzano was the first one in the world to produce fluff pulp based on eucalyptus. It was something that everybody believed that it was impossible, and we are doing this as a new business. And we have this new venture with Spinova, that is a Finnish startup, where we just launched a joint venture with them. It's an invested company that we have in our portfolio, and I will talk a little bit about this in the next slides. And well, in order to have everything done, so I need to explain to you how we are structured. So most of our activities in terms of production sites are in Brazil. The only one that is being built in outside Brazil is the Spinova plus Suzano joint venture. It's our first venture outside Brazil. We are very happy with this too. It's very small, but very disruptive. But everything else, it's located in Brazil. So different from other players, we own most of our lands. So we have something around 1.3 million of hectares of planted areas, and plus something around 900,000 hectares of preservation areas, and we are taking care of everything. And we have 12 mills for now, lots of distribution centers, 5 technology centers, 3 of them in Brazil, 1 in Israel and 1 in Canada, and 3 ports in order to make it feasible to send all of those products to the entire world. And thinking about challenges and connecting this with what kind of solutions we are looking for when we work with the startups, I think it would be nice to talk to you about our long-term strategic vision and our goals for 2030. So in terms of strategic vision, we have 3 pillars. So first of all, we want to continue being a benchmark in the sector in efficiency. So this is very important, thinking about challenges, profitability and sustainability from the forest to the client. And we want to be a transformational agent in the expansion into new markets for our biomass. And this is extremely related with new businesses. And we want to be a reference and sustainable and innovative solution for the bioeconomy and environmental service based on planted trees. And then based on those 3 pillars, we settled our ambitions that are be the best in class in the total pulp cost vision. And this is quite important. Suzano has the lowest cash cost for pulp production in the world. We want to maintain relevance in pulp through good projects. So this last one project that I mentioned, it's something that is reflecting this ambition. Advance in the links of the value chain, always with competitive advantage if we have competitive advantage. So verticalization must be followed by competitive advantage. And we want to expand boldly into new markets and play a leading role in sustainability. And when we think about our goals for 2030, you can check all of them and how we are going in terms of accomplishment in our website. Please take a look on that. We have the links at the end of this presentation. But I'd like to highlight here those 3 goals. First of all, is to be even more climate positive. Suzano is already carbon negative, and the intention is to be even more. So our goal is to provide a net removal of 40 million tons of CO2 from the atmosphere for 2030. And besides that, another very relevant goal that is extremely related with new business is to offer more than 10 million tons of products from renewable sources that can replace petroleum-based products. So the point here is, of course, not to account the pulp conventional markets, but thinking about new opportunities based on biomass or based on pulp. And well, you may know that how Brazil is marked by inequality, social inequality, and we have a very, very important goal here, that is to lift 200,000 people from poverty in our areas of operation through economic development. And we just launched a new challenge for 2030, that is to connect 500,000 hectares of priority areas for biodiversity conservation in different ecosystems in Brazil. So the idea is to build these green halls connecting those different ecosystems like Cerrado, Atlantic Forest, and Amazon by 2030. This is something that it's very, very important for us. We are working a lot on this and very proud to announce it. And well, thinking about connecting this strategic vision and our goals for 2030, we can think about having multiple opportunities to work together with startups. So we have lots of challenges related to efficiency, productivity, but also sustainability and new markets. So lots of opportunities to work in collaboration with startups. And how we are doing this? Well, at Suzano, we are building a culture for open innovation where the businesses areas or our different areas of activity are protagonists. So they need to understand, and we help them to understand what kind of challenges we have. And then each area has their own decentralized budget in order to make it feasible. And we'll prioritize according to their goals and deliverables for increasing its performance or whatever are the metrics for them. And the most important thing is this kind of initiative in open innovation must be connected with our strategy. And the idea here is to build a governance, but encourage the adoption of new technologies with autonomy. And with that, disseminate the culture of open innovation. And I will start giving some examples of how are you doing this in your business. That is a quite different environment when we compare to other areas at Suzano. And then I will show to you how we are doing this in other areas. So in the new business, our main reason for existence is to develop new opportunities based on planted trees. And you can see here in this slide, in green, we have our very core activities and products. So Suzano use planted trees in order to produce market pulp, paper products, other products related to those platforms, and energy, since we are we produce a surplus of energy. And in blue here, we have our main platforms for new business. So the idea is to use trees in order to produce, for example, bio-oil. We already have this platform happening, and we invested in one company that is related to the development of technology for production of bio-oil. And now we are building the business case and the project that will be launched in Brazil very soon. So when then we have lignin, that is a co-product of our process, crafty process, and we already have a demonstration plant. Different from bio-oil, this is a project that was developed internally with our R&D team. And now we are working with different partnerships in order to understand the potential markets for this new product. So one thing that we hope to find in cooperation with startups, for example, is try to find new use or better use of lignin in different applications. And then we have biocomposites, that is the concept of mixing fibers, pulp fibers with conventional polymers, and to produce thermoplastic parts. And then we have microfibrillated cellulose that can be used internally in our paper, for example, production or board production, and in textiles. Those in textiles, in this case, I will talk a little bit more about one very interesting example of collaboration, investment, and a new business based on the interaction with one startup. And those different platforms are in different stages of development. Lignin, as I mentioned, has an industrial, a first industrial plant. Biocomposites is going to a pilot stage. Microfibrillated is in pilot stage, but we had just announced this first commercial plant with Spinova in Finland, and bio-oil, it's going to our first industrial plant too. So for those platforms, the idea is try to find new opportunities, and of course, we are always looking for startups that could be involved on this. And it's just this. No, it's not just this. Of course, we are interested in finding new platforms or other platforms that can add value to our main asset, that is forest, planted forest. And we do this not alone, of course. We work a lot in new business with R&D. And in new business, we have this group that is responsible for technology scouting, that I'm the leader of this group. And of course, we're always working with startups, incubators, accelerators, and other players that can help us in those challenges. And just to give a good case that we are very happy to announce is the case of Spinova. Spinova is, as I mentioned, a Finnish company and startup where we made the first investment in 2017. The point here was we had this platform for production of microfibrillated cellulose, and Spinova has this disruptive process that use MFC, microfibrillated cellulose, to produce textiles. So it was a very perfect fit, right? But of course, with lots of challenges, since they are developing this technology. In 2019, after 2 years working with them, trying to provide a proper material to be used in their process, we had the first successful pilot production, and this, of course, inspired us to keep developing this partnership, keep growing this partnership and opportunity. And then this year, 2021, we announced the new 50/50 JV to open a commercial scale plant in Finland. So the idea is, what will be, who will be actually the next one? It would be a pleasure to find other opportunities like this. And when we think about, just to finish, well, this is my last slide. So this was our view for new business that is trying to find new processes, new products that can use the main asset that we have, that are the forestry, the planted forests. And what about our core activities? What about pulp production? What about logistics? What about supply chain? Everything that we have inside this huge company. So we have a great group that is led by Álvaro, my colleague. He's doing an amazing job with open innovation, with all the areas at Suzano. So he and his group developed a program that is helping to create, actually to engage some ambassadors that are people at Suzano that are trained and mentored in order to become ambassadors of open innovation at Suzano, leading projects with open innovation, with methodology, with knowledge in order to do that. And they created a process that is called Agile Open Innovation Journey. In Portuguese, Joia. Joia is like this sign, like, and it's a great name in Portuguese. And the idea of Joia was to build the entire journey of a startup since the beginning, since a first matchmaking session, up to the scale of the solution inside Suzano. And this was done with business areas, including new business. It was done with the legal team, with procurement areas, with the IT group. Lots of people were involved in, and it's happening. It's working very, very well. Of course, we still have challenges to win to overcome the bureaucracy, but it's happening. And then we have other activities like Open Innovation Academy, a kind of fast track of selection of startups, that is Joia Express. And then we have acceleration programs with partners, different partners around the world, and mentoring programs and food for thoughts. The idea is to create open innovation culture at Suzano. So follow Álvaro at LinkedIn. He's in his team are always publishing open calls and other opportunities to interact. It's a very nice contact, and he's a very nice guy. So let's work together. This is my invitation for you and for everybody, that you can mention about Suzano and say that we are an option for working, for cooperate, and we are open to collaborate.
Thank you so much, Gisele. It's really impressive of seeing how you work with startups and your different platforms of doing that. Not only with startups actually, but actually in the really early stage with people and with this different concepts in your platform. I'm very interested to know, because I mean you have a really robust strategy internally in Suzano for doing this. If I would be a corporate sitting here, I would be very interested to know, how did you start, to build this? Because I mean, this doesn't happen over a day. It's complicated, takes time. Probably you need to have like a lot of people with you, but it's really interesting to understand how did this start? how did you find the need and how did you begin?
Actually, it happened in not so organized way. It happened due to people that were excited about working with startups, people that had this desire of trying something different, not just with the conventional suppliers or the conventional partners in the R&D activities. And we learned with this. So we learned that having so many initiatives spread throughout the company, we understood that sometimes good projects did not have success because they were not feasible in the way that they were designed. We had 12 meals, and sometimes we were studying or evaluating the solution of one startup or different startups with similar technologies, and we didn't speak each other, you know. So we understood that when we had the merger and we had the opportunity of reinvent our structure, so we passed through this remodeling of different areas, it was clear that we needed an area that would help us to bring visibility, not bureaucracy, not a governance in the sense of controlling what is happening, but trying to find synergies. And this is why the open innovation area started at Suzano. In new business, we did the same thing because it was a different intention, because when you take a look at the projects that we have in different areas like logistics, forestry, um, uh, procurement, or production industrial areas. So we have the main intention of hiring these startups as an alternative to conventional suppliers, bringing something new, something that probably would be simpler or more technological, something like that. But when we are in new business, the idea is to, okay, let's try to find opportunities for Suzano grow in different markets. So it's an intention more related to investment than to hire or to just partner with a startup and develop a solution for a challenge that we have. And in this case, we understood that we need not just being part of different ecosystems, being present in different ecosystems around the world, but we understood that we need to develop our own scouting process. So this happened at new business. Of course, since we are scouting, we find opportunities for other areas too, and then we connect and try to accelerate this too. But I think that we started in a not so organized way, and now we are growing and understanding our needs better. And we are trying different connections, and it was kind of organic process, and now I think we are almost ready for a next step, that is being even more organized and even more structured in order to have better results. But it's a process.
Of course it is, and there's a lot of challenges to solve during that process, for sure. It's really interesting. I mean, Suzano is sometimes when we talk about corporates in Sweden, you know, they're like much smaller. We have, of course, big corporates, but I mean, Suzano have over 30,000 employees and increasing for sure. And it's also interesting if you take the other perspective of being a startup approaching you. I mean, what should a startup think about? I mean, how do you connect with your different sites? Uh, what should they think about when, you know, when you're saying also that you're increasing your scouting or you're growing? How will you do that? And as a startup, small startup working with I mean, a corporate, it's also, I mean, it's two different worlds, and somehow how, like, what's your like takeaway for the startups? If I would be a startup and sitting here and thinking, Suzano, I want to collaborate with them, how is like the first steps?
Well, the first step is to make contact, and sometimes it happened through events like this and the matchmakings that we did. But also, of course, we are always responding all the messages that we receive in our LinkedIn's, and well, being connected is the first step. And I would say that one very important thing that I've learned during this process at Suzano is that sometimes in our side we are so focused on our problems, so focused on our challenges, and we have all the daily basis drama of being involved in those challenges. Sometimes we do not we cannot see that that solution can be applied to me. So for a startup, it's important trying to listen, trying to extract, to understand the challenge, because this is the point. You can make your pitch sharper, because we have a very, very unique structure and business in terms of when you were compared to other companies in this field. So of course we have very specific challenges, and sometimes we are trying to find exactly the perfect fit.
Mm,
And so I think that the startup can try to listen and to in order to make their pitch to have a better fit to us, because I think it's a problem for both sides. It's not just a point for the startup, but because, as I mentioned, we are always so involved in what we are doing, and sometimes it's not
mm,
clear
mm,
for the business units what exactly they are looking for when they
mm,
are working with startups. And so I think that having this kind of open conversation and trying to understand
mm,
what kind of solution are we looking for, it's something that can make your experience presenting a pitch something better. And of course, we are open to connect and open to present our challenges and our pains. So I think that we must chat, we must discuss
mm,
possibilities
mm,
with a more open-minded way. It's not easy. Sometimes we are not so open. Sometimes a startup is not so open, but I think we must try to find this 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 common point in order
mm,
to understand that
mm.
sometimes the answer is there. We just the startup just don't know that
Yeah.
we have this kind of problem, and we don't know that the startup has this kind of solution. So
Mm, mm.
I
Uh,
passed through some interesting experience with startups where we started with an idea, and
mm,
then discussing, we we reached the conclusion that okay, if I knew that, I would present this in a completely different way. I heard
mm,
this from the startup, so this
mm, mm.
uh, 1 year ago, I would,
Yeah.
but it's a matter of conversation, trying to understand the common points.
Mm, mm. Um, just to, you know, we have seen it also in our matchmakings. A lot of time there's a lot of rerouting. Corporate and startup meets and for a different specific like challenge, and then you adjust it to something else because you have explored another area that you find like, this is we can do this also and solve that. I guess that's the openness of the process that's important, and to be open to that meeting or that call.
Exactly.
Could you tell us a little bit? I'm really curious about Spinova, and if you can give us just a perspective of how did you meet them and what happened in that process, just like briefly.
Yes, well, in this case was I'd say that was a perfect and unusual match that happened, because as I mentioned to you, so we had this technology platform and they had this technology that use exactly this product for a market that is amazing. So textile markets it's a giant market, and it's a market that is hungry for sustainable solutions. So it was a perfect timing and a perfect fit. And the point is, this kind of situation doesn't happen every day. So
No.
this is the point. This is the point. So how can we find other opportunities where maybe we don't have a perfect fit, we don't have maybe we even don't have a perfect timing, but how can we build a solution together? So this is the major challenge, because it was lucky, and of course they were in a very it's a very disruptive process with lots of challenges, but well, it happened. It happened. So my job is try to understand how we can make more of those processes, not just because it happened that a startup was born with an idea that is perfect for us, but how to build a process where we can find opportunities that are not exactly ready, but that can be interesting. So Spinova happened, and it was amazing. It is amazing, but the idea is how we know that we won't have this kind of situation every year. But how to build this together. So this is why I think the conversation, the discussions, the open discussions about the industry challenges are so important, because most of the time, even being a company that is so huge, people doesn't know Suzano and doesn't know what kind of challenge do we have. We have, in fact. So this is the point. It happened, and it happened in a very interesting way, because if you think straightly, well, the obvious solution would be, for example, having the first commercial plant here, close to our mills, with the lowest cost as possible. But the point is, they brought to us a lots of opportunities in Europe. That is a more open market to sustainable solutions. And then, okay, it was very interesting for Suzano too, because it was disruptive. For the first time, we are thinking about something that is not located in Brazil. So lots of learnings in this process. I really believe that we'll have even more lessons learned during the next years with this experience, and I really think that we should use this specific event to bring other opportunities to the table.
Exactly, that's really interesting, and I guess that was singularity that happened. It just, was a perfect match. And
exactly. The idea is we do not have to wait for perfect matches always.
No,
We have
exactly.
to create other opportunities and co-create other opportunities. So this is the point.
True. I was just wondering, is there anybody that or have any questions? Because otherwise I'm just, rambling all my questions. So I would just like give it up to the stage if somebody have a specific question that you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, I will just continue. And yeah, I'm also interested in, I'll have like a couple of questions in one question, I guess. So regarding like the maturity level of startups that you like when you scout, is there like a level that you are more open to? Do you have a criteria that you look at? And also you mentioned working with, usually don't work maybe so much like internationally with scouting startups. Maybe you're more focused on Brazil and you also focus internationally. So do you see like differences in working with like Brazilian startups, for example, and then Swedish startups that you have met quite many of, or European startups, or yeah, like do you see some things that are different, like from on a
Mhm.
perspective of more geography?
Perfect. Well, regarding the first part, the maturity level, it depends. It depends on the area, depends on the kind of challenge. But in new business, for example, in general, we are looking for something that is going to at least a pilot stage in order to have a little bit more maturity than a lab concept or something like that. So in general, this is very important for us. But it depends a lot on the type of technology. If you're looking for example, challenges in different areas that are looking for digital solutions, it's important to then have a good case that is happening, no matter if it's exactly in the same field that we are, but something like that. It depends a lot. And regarding geography, we are quite open. No, we are not focused on Brazilian territory. Of course, there are some advantages of being closer, but in our specific case, when you're looking for new processes or new products, there are some regions like Sweden where there is a uh, um, there is a very traditional and very robust structure for development of this kind of technologies when you're talking about pulp, paper, and biorefinery technologies. And of course, we see more mature or more well-structured startups in those fields. It's I would say that in terms of difference, it depends on the vocation of each region. In Brazil, for example, we are going very, very well in agtech solutions due to our nature. And so we have very interesting hubs and we are part of them. Sometimes they're not dedicated to forestry, but we can use other technologies related to the agtech field. And we are seeing very, very interesting solutions, and other companies, other startups from different places are coming to Brazil actually in order to be part of those hubs. And this is a very nice movement. And due to our economic challenges, actually, we showed lots of very interesting fintechs too. So it's something that happened not due a good reason actually, but a necessity, the need of having other solutions in terms of fintech, and we are going very well on this. So I would say that depending on the region, we have different balances among the different verticals. I would say that. So of course, when I take a look on technologies related to our field that are more scientific based, Sweden, Finland, Canada are very, very well developed ecosystems. And the Brazilian one is starting to to grow, but it's a different level. And specifically for Sweden, something is very important that I see. So you are an example of interaction, good interaction among government, academia, and industry. So it's a very positive environment for creation of new opportunities in this sense. So I'd say that we have lots to learn, and I'm always learning when I'm interacting with you. So I'd say that yes, they are different, and maybe they are balanced in different ways depending on the situation and the economics and the scientific development in specific areas. But we don't have any limitations on this. Yes, the idea is to work with everybody that has a good solution.
That's impressive. I mean, I'm really impressed by you, and when we had you in the matchmaking also with your team, it was really interesting to understand and see your challenges and basically clear strategy of working with startups and the will of meeting, in this case, Swedish startups, of course. And I think that you answered, we don't have so much time left, but about the my last question was in your insights about the Swedish innovation ecosystem. I think you answered, but if you want to add something else, if you have it in that matter, of course, you're welcome to have the closing word about it.
Well, I think this is my point. I think you have a great environment for the development of new businesses from small enterprises. I think it's very remarkable. But one thing that I would say, it's in this kind of interaction between countries, I think we have lots of opportunities, not just for our knowledge and education. So it's nice to learn how you do things and try to adapt here in Brazil, and CISB is doing a great job on that. But I think we have lots to offer too, because Brazil has scale. It's a huge market and a huge population, and when we, not just when we think about the industries, because okay, I remember in the first matchmaking, I think it was in Malmo, this specific situation. There is a company, a startup that provided a solution based on drones. And when I explained, okay, we have a 1.3 million hectares of areas, and lots of these areas doesn't have connectivity, because you're talking about completely different environment. And then, whoa, 1.3 million. So it's something that and I'm talking about one company. So I think Brazil can bring lots of opportunities for Swedish startups in order to experiment a different market. So and what we can do, not just to connect with our challenges, but connect with challenges from our colleagues from other big corporates. It's something that, of course, we are open to do. This was one insight that appeared during the organization of our last matchmaking session that I mentioned to the other corporates with Alessandra from CISB, that maybe we have, okay, we are talking about mining, forestry, different segments in different industries, but maybe we can find some common interests in order to bring startups from different geographies and make it scalable, and I think we can do that. So I really believe that we have lots of opportunities, we have a lot to learn, but also we can offer a lot too.
That's a perfect closing for this session, Gisele. I'm so happy that I've met you and the collaboration, and definitely the key is openness and collaborating together. It has been a pleasure to work with CISPI and you in this matchmaking and in the future matchmakings. And for sure, we will see a lot of collaboration between corporates from Brazil and startups from Sweden, and vice versa, of course. We thank you so much, Gisele, for you joining us. It's having a pleasure to have you on board on this session. And for all of you that are here, you are very welcome to our other activities that we're having. Just to give you, so we have for corporates, we have of course a membership that you can join, and being in the doing needs assessment workshop with you, because you have to understand your challenges and needs. Of course, all of our events that are available, that's also something that you will get access to, and a lot of different learning sessions regarding startup corporate collaboration. And I think that Gisele, I've been in Sweden Discovery Tour before once, and of course we are doing this many times. So we try to be the door to the Swedish innovation ecosystem for the corporates. That's also something that we do. And of course, you're very welcome to contact us all. And we have a lot of matchmakings that we have been talking about coming both nationally and internationally. And Brazil is actually actively participating in Sweden Innovation Days that will happen in January 2022. CISPI is our partners there, and we're proud of that, of course. And with this said, I thank you so much again, Gisele, for taking your time, and all of you that participated in this session. And to be continued, I say, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend. I have a long day yet here, but as soon as possible, I will start my weekend too.
When it comes, absolutely.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.